Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I live in Mountain Village, Colorado. If you want to find out anything about me, go to MySpace where I have a page. This here is some information I'm going to provide to people who would like to join the Air Force. It's I served in the Air Force. I was a personnel specialist, and I had some good tips for those who are thinking about joining the Air Force. And I'm going to give you some inside information as to what it would be like to go to boot camp. Although in the Air Force we call it basic training, not boot camp. Basic training usually lasts about 6 weeks. I'm going to tell you right at the very beginning, if you don't want to be there any longer than 6 weeks, one thing to do is don't join around the time there's a holiday. I ended up joining in January 4th of 1979. I ended up having to go through, I think, 2 holidays, Lincoln and Washington birthday back then. And so we got 2 extra days there. When you join the Air Force and you go to basic training, the weekends are not counted as training days, even though you may do some training on those days. Only the weekdays are. So keep that in mind. Now, here I'm going to go down a list of things for you to remember, or that you need to remember. Okay, first of all, when you join the Air Force and you're on your way to basic training, please don't shave your head. Don't do that. I'm sure most people know that. Don't do that. Just let your hair grow as long as you can, if you can. That's the way they want it. When you arrive at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, that's where you'll go to get your basic training. You're known as a rainbow. A rainbow is a person who is not a military person who does not have uniform yet, or whose head has not been shaved yet. You're in civvies or civilian clothes. When they shaved my hair was way down to here when I went in. It took them 13 seconds to shave all the hair off my head. And the funniest thing of it is that when everybody goes in, you remember seeing everybody with their long hair, or or what they look like before their head's shaved, and then when you come out the other side, most of us just stood around laughing at each other because we looked so ridiculous. And I remember flying out of Jacksonville, going up to Atlanta. We stopped off in Dallas, then on to San Antonio. We had to actually go back to Dallas because they couldn't land because of the runway was frozen over or something. So that's a different story. But anyway, we had about 6 girls with us. There was about 8 guys and 6 girls, and I had to carry all the paperwork for all of us. And I can remember that after we got our heads shaved, about 3 days later, we'd see these girls, they'd be marching, in another flight, and a lot of them would take our caps and put it down. Of course, we didn't want the girls to see us, with our heads shaved like that, because it was so, embarrassing. So you may keep that in mind. If you go to basic training and you meet some girls along the way that are also going. Okay, your training instructor is known as an MTI, Military Training Instructor. There's usually 2 of them. You're in a dorm, not a barracks. They usually, when I joined, there was 66 of us, and I think only about 29 or 26 to 29 graduated. After about 2 weeks that you're there, they'll let you call home. Your flight, the squad that you're in, is known as a flight. Mine was flight 7007, something like that. Not James Bond stuff, but it was just 7007 or 7006. I can't remember the flight anymore. When you fall out in the morning at 5 a.m., at Reveille, you have 5 minutes to fall out. And you have to, and when you fall out, a lot of times you see in the movies and stuff like that, people falling out in their boots. No, you'll fall out in your tennis shoes because you're going to do physical, you're going to have your PE, let's just put it that way. And I think before you graduate, you have to, I think we were having to run 1.5 miles in formation. Okay, after a few weeks there, they'll start weeding out a lot of people. A lot of people start leaving. They'll start sending the undesirables home. They'll set some people back. They'll even set some people back who have been there 6 weeks and about ready to graduate, send them back to the first day. Of course, they have to go join another flight, though. And that's something you don't want to do. But when you're there, you will compete against another flight of men, or if you're a flight of ladies, then you'll compete against another flight of ladies. And you're going to be competing for honor flight, and then MTI is going to just scream and yell at you about the fact that you better win it. Well, here's what's going to happen. They'll even kind of bribe you. If you win honor flight, we'll guarantee you that I'm going to go easy on you. Don't you believe that? They're not going to go easy on you, because now that you've won honor flight, or if you do win it, I guess we did, you will be held to a higher standard. So don't buy that garbage that the MTI is going to go easy on you if you win it. Actually, he or she's just trying to bribe you. One thing I've learned, or I did learn in basic training, is never volunteer for anything. If they ask you for who wants to volunteer for this or volunteer for that, don't ever raise your hand. And the worst job that you can have during basic training is known as a food runner. A food runner is a person who has to run ahead of the flight in the morning, afternoon, and evening, and go and stand at attention in front of a bunch of screaming, yelling MTIs in a cafeteria, asking permission to bring the flight in. And then sometimes they'll play with you, scream at you, look at your uniform, find something wrong, and just absolutely terrorize you. Do not apply for that job. Just going to duck, when the MTI start looking for a volunteer to be a food runner. That's the worst thing you can do. You're just asking for it. Okay. When you're in basic training, you will at times be awakened at 2, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to full guard duty. Before you go into the military, you might want to learn how to make hospital beds. You might want to learn the military ranks, like enlisted ranks, starting with, like Airman Basic, Airman First Class, Senior Airman. It's been a while. And then learn the officer ranks. Learn how to shine your shoes really good, and you go on the internet and learn that. But I'll just give you a little tip: water in the lid. Something to do with water and cotton. I'll just say that. If you can learn that, you can really learn how to shine your boots and your shoes and make them really shine. One of the things the MTIs will kid you about if they don't like the way you shine something is they'll yell out to you, "What do you do? Shine your shoes with your boots with a brick?" All the ranks. Let's see. Remember though that you can be sent back or sent home for even the smallest mistake or disruption. They will allow you to go off base probably within 3 weeks after you get there. And when you go downtown into San Antonio, go in a group. Be very careful. I don't think we ever wore uniforms there. In fact, I think we did. But if you do wear a uniform there, go in groups. Be careful about being enrolled. One time, a group of us almost got rolled one day, and luckily there was a sergeant with us who just happened to be on the bus when we went down there, and he realized that we're about to be rolled. And so be very careful. There's people waiting for you to come off base so they can roll you, and they might kill you too. Okay, I think I've covered just about everything here that I wanted to cover. Anyhow, the Air Force basic training lasts about 6 weeks. It's not that bad, and then you go into tech school. Make sure you pick yourself something which will help you attain a job once you get out. Make sure of that. And just make sure this is what you want to do, and just stick it out for 6 weeks. And then like I said, you'll go to tech school. If you get close enough to home, you might even be able to go home on the weekends like I did. I went to Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi to go to tech school. But the Air Force is a good branch of the military, and of course I like all the other branches as well. And just learn everything you can about basic training, and you have something that I didn't have when I went in, and that's called the internet. You can learn an awful lot about the Air Force and what you're going to face right through the internet. Thank you for your time.